The Secret Service rushed him to an underground bunker at the White House, previously used to protect the vice president
there we go.
during the protest last Friday. He claimed today that no.
Does somebody have their TV audio on? Okay, there we go. That's better.
Yeah, I was watching the market.
All right.
Hey, big fish. Are you talking or what? Can't hear you.
That's for you, Mike.
Thanks.
Okay, are we ready to go or?
Yes, all
Yep.
all set here.
Okay. All right. So I guess call to order at 7:04. How are we going to do the pledge? Do I need to call up a picture of the flag so we can all
I've
look at it?
got one at the ready.
Okay. So
Oh, you get one in the hallway. There we go.
There
There
we
you
go.
go.
Wow. All right. So are we supposed to stand for this, I suppose?
Yes.
Absolutely.
This is going to be an interesting.
Belly time.
COVID-19.
There you go.
All right. I pledge allegiance
To the flag
to the United States of America and to the republic
For which it stands,
one nation, under God, indivisible,
with
liberty
liberty and justice.
for all.
Okay. Well, who's operating the flags and everything? Who's doing all that stuff?
It's Rob
Rob.
from Merge Live.
Ah, okay.
Is this going to be on YouTube? I got to show my kids this sometime.
Yeah,
Yes,
this is
it's
great.
streaming right now.
Oh my God.
You need a little bit more cake. Excuse me.
Think we could go viral?
Sure. Why not?
All right. A roll call.
Schneider,
Here.
Nye,
Raise your hand. He's
Scott,
here.
Here.
Sergeant,
Here.
Duff,
Here.
Hurst,
Here.
Martini, and Scott.
Here. Raising my hand. Can't hear me.
Isn't Ryan the one that called this meeting? Okay. Has everybody read the minutes for,
Can you guys hear me or no?
You just turned it on.
There you are.
Here.
Hey,
No, I'm
Ryan.
here.
Raising my
Yeah, my computer audio doesn't work. I had to call in with the actual dial-in number.
Oh, gee.
Oh,
isn't Ryan the
all
one that
right.
called this meeting?
Yeah, I'm here.
All right, well, welcome. Okay, so, everybody read the minutes to read over the minutes from March.
Can you guys hear
Yep.
me or
Yes.
You just turned it on.
There you are. Hey,
no? No, I'm
Ryan.
here. Yeah, my computer audio doesn't work. I had to
Are there
call
any,
in.
additions, changes, or addendums
All right.
to the minutes?
Yeah, I'm here. Are you guys hearing an echo from like 30 seconds ago or no?
Yeah, or more.
Yeah.
Like a minute ago.
Somebody on the internet or something? Yes.
Just turned
Yeah.
it on.
There you are. Hey,
No,
Ryan.
I'm here.
Are
My computer audio doesn't work. I had to
there
call in.
any,
Somebody on YouTube?
changes or addendums to the minutes?
Yeah, I have a terrible echo about a minute ago. 30 seconds ago or no?
Yeah, or more. Like a minute ago.
Somebody on the internet or something? Yes.
Rob, do you,
I don't know what's going on.
Somebody on YouTube? Yeah, it sounds like a YouTube background feed.
Yeah, I have a terrible echo about a minute. 30 seconds ago or not?
Yeah, or more, like a minute ago.
Somebody on,
okay. So if there's no, changes to the minutes, we need a motion to approve.
so moved.
I'll do a second.
Did I hear hold on a second?
So he said, I'll second.
Okay. Okay, all those in favor?
Aye.
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 Okay. Any agenda additions?
Go ahead. I was just going to say, I'd like to do a very quick discussion on the budget that's been, will be approved next meeting for what we asked for.
Okay, that sounds good.
Yep. I guess since I'm supposed to be monitoring social media, I guess there's a couple of things coming off of there that is worth talking about, so we could add it for one spot for 5 minutes.
Okay, so put the social media person. Anything else? No?
No.
So need a motion for to add those things to the agenda.
I am so moved.
Okay, need a second?
I'll second.
All right, all those in favor?
Aye.
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 All right,
Aye.
okay. Call to the public. Are there any public on here?
No members of the public.
Okay. Administration report. I have no idea what the current lake level is. Does anybody know?
It looks to be right at normal
Yeah.
in here.
Last I heard, it was 1 inch above. I think Doug is correct. It's as near normal as we're going to get. Down 3.5 inches from the high.
Okay. So 900 and some feet above sea level. Noteworthy complaints. Anybody got any complaints?
We worked our way by council and the administrator, and also Paul through 2 complaints coming out of the canal. They've been solved, and that was basically algae. Other than that, I don't know of any.
Yeah, I mean, that was a big one. There's a lot of algae in the lake with all that rain, you know, whether it's around the lake or in the canals. We had people pinging me online about asking to get into their house. It seemed like I got with Aquaweed, gave them the pinpoint numbers on the map, and they, you know, those same owners got back in touch with me and said that they got right up to their shoreline and treated it. So I think it was pretty much taken care of. The algae was really bad.
Okay.
I think all the complaints thus far have been about algae, not necessarily weeds, right?
Yeah.
Well, the only complaint, and I don't want to get too far ahead of you, Ryan, but I remember reading on the Facebook page about wakeboard or jet ski jumping and running over skiers.
Yeah. Yeah, I
Yeah.
got that on the list.
Yeah, we can discuss that when we get to the social media aspect.
Okay. Yeah, I was gonna say that one too.
Any other complaints that we know of? I do not know of any. Okay. Chairperson's report and general communication to the board. This is the point, and I don't mean to spring anything on anybody, so I'm giving you kind of a heads up here. Been doing a lot of thinking lately, and I think in October, when this is time to appoint a new chairperson, it will be time to appoint a new chairperson. I don't feel like I'm able to give in good conscience all the effort to being the chairman of this board any longer, with all my duties as a PhD student and a number of other things that are going on. So I'm hoping that somebody else will step forward and for me while I try not to have an aneurysm. So that's kind of a heads up for October coming up. So think about that. Go through.
Mike, I've got a question on that. Are you planning on staying on the board?
Yeah, I was planning on staying on the board.
Good.
I'm feeling really guilty because I'm not putting in the effort I feel I need to properly be the chairperson of this board. So that's, and been thinking about it for a while, and I think it's time for me to just cut my stress level a little bit. So just step down a little bit. So that's the chairperson's report. All right, new business. John, would you like to go first with your budget?
Yeah, it's really very quick. We had our work session last Wednesday. Let's just say that everything that the board wanted was in fact approved to move forward to the final budget discussion. Open public meeting will be this coming council meeting. I just wanted to make the notes that we had 12.5, as you might remember, for the erosion control, and 12.5 for the canals. That's been combined to the 25,000 under last year's budget and now moved to contracted services. It's easier, I think, for council to accept that they whatever that's going to be used for will be for exterior contracted services, inclusive of other things that might help beyond permitting and getting the permits necessary to do, for example, bottom determinations of what the canal looks like, or to do the planting contract to have somebody come in and do erosion control with natural plantings, or something I'd like to talk about either now or in the near future, which is getting the transponders back on the game. The council approved $9,500 to handle remote management of the 3 new generators that we've installed in case they go out, so that the DPW, 2 of those are, by the way, are at community well pumps. So I throw that onto the board's decision table, whether they want to move after transponders again. And then finally, we've still managed to hold $12,000 aside. Let me see who that is. Hold $12,000 aside for aeration, for, quote, the study of aeration, including possibly getting contracts with Wayne State. And we need to regenerate all of that communication, whether we want them involved or whether it even makes sense to keep the aerators in where they are or move them. We own them. We own the pumps. moving, of course, is going to mean that we're going to have to do something with new electric. For example, my first push was to get aeration back here. We do have the poles to do that. And if you want to split them and somehow make a determination to move aeration or the pumping into the canals, that's something that's going to need some study. And it's going to need permitting. So there's 12,000 still sitting there. We managed to get that pulled through for another year. And then, of course, the other 25, however you want to manage that as a board, it's sitting there. Otherwise, it'll go away, I'm sure. You know, that's it.
So there's 35,000 there for contracted services, basically.
Yeah, actually 37,500.
37.
Yeah.
Okay.
At the last meeting, we asked for somebody, for Mike to put together a scope of work. That, I assume, didn't happen yet?
You're talking about Mike Smith?
Yeah.
Never mentioned that. Was he asked by the board to do that? I don't remember that as part of our minutes. Or did you?
I think it's in the minutes, so.
Okay.
We did talk about it.
Yeah.
Yeah, we did.
It's a motion under 10 on page 2.
Okay. Well, that's usually a board issue. So page 210, what? Lakeshore Erosion, Hearst would like to request the Administrator Smith go to council and get a scope of work for the Shankin culvert. While there was discussion on that, Mike, our engineer and Mike Smith are in fact trying to make determinations of what needs to be done to salvage that. As you may or may not know, part of that also includes an outlot for Shankin. So from the standpoint of a scope of work relative to any kind of erosion control, no decisions were made yet. Now I can go back to him and talk to him again. That's not a problem.
Well, I have a question. I guess maybe this is just a general question. In this time of pandemic where everybody is running around not having any money, are we still spending money like there's no pandemic, or what's the board doing there, or what's the council doing there?
Well, that was totally reviewed. Property taxes, as a matter of fact, I have a slide I can put up that shows not only the budgets, but also the summary sheet of the budget discussions, if you want. Let's see, 51% of our revenue stream comes in from property taxes. The rest is state shared revenues, which are in fact in the Constitution, so they won't go away. 10% is in solid waste management collection fees on top of property taxes. And the rest is all miscellaneous. The biggest one this year was a $400,000 move this year from our free funds balances, which are still somewhere over 2.2 million and expected to hit about 3.2 million to handle road repair. Well, I should say road paving. So the answer to the question long-windedly is our budget is good for at least the next 2 foreseeable years because property taxes are based upon, in this case, 2018 through 2019 valuations. Unless you see any fear that we're going to have a lousy 2019-20 valuation mark, we're pretty good for 2 years out. And that's what happened the last time when I was chair of the finance committee, when we went through the last thing and we had, 3 layoffs, 1 staff cut, and a reduction in the police department. And then we added the garbage collection. It was a 2-year delay before we really started getting hit in revenue flows. So we're good.
So I should have, a different way to ask the question, has the village's priorities changed based on the pandemic? Are we charging along pre-pandemic?
We're charging along pre-pandemic. We managed to still keep ours. We added another 100,000 to the improvement of the parks, and the reason we did that is we're applying for public grants where we get $1 for every 2 we spend.
Okay. Thanks, John.
You're welcome, sir.
Okay.
We're not spending like fools, believe me. Our forecasted free balance is going to still remain somewhere just under 3 million. And normally, state, let's say average history, would like to think that free cash balances for a municipality are 25% of operating expenses, which means we should really be somewhere in $1.2 million. So we've got a good, healthy cash balance in this place.
You sure we don't want to put in more fish habitat?
More what? Fish?
More fish habitat. Sink some more pallets.
Well, that's
You're the big fish, aren't
the
you?
agenda.
Yeah, I'm
Just
the big
tell us
fish.
where you're putting them, would you?
Okay, is there anything else that anybody wants to add to that? It sounds good, John.
Well, yeah, any questions, come at me.
I don't think so. I'm as far as the Wayne State thing, yeah, that's gonna have to.
Is Donna still there?
Well, nope, there, but she still works there. Yes.
Okay. Well, you said she wasn't in the best of health or something once, so I don't, you know, whether that
Yeah,
was temporary
she
or-
was having some health issues. I think she still is. I haven't heard anything from her or any of her students since March. So there's going to come a point where everybody's going to basically get reintroduced to everybody
Okay.
at some point. But it may not be high on our priority list. So we'll see what's what her interest level is.
Okay. Ryan, are you heading up aeration? Is that what your board or one of your board responsibilities is?
Supposed to be. Yeah,
Okay.
it's supposed to be. Yeah. I mean, we need to do probably offline of this meeting, some kind of download of information exchange and contacts and
Yeah, let's do
more
that.
than an email dump. We probably need to go take an hour and sit next to each other and go through some files and do a knowledge transfer before you're out of here.
Okay, that makes sense.
Well, you'll all be dead in a week then. Sit next to each other.
Yeah, I mean, I could probably see him from where I am. So
Yeah.
So John, how much longer are you around?
How much longer am I around? Nobody knows the answer to that question. Is that as deep as that?
20, 30 years? I don't know.
Well, I mean, I have the house posted but not listed. I've had 7. We just had another one tonight come in, wants to buy the vacant property. They have all been coming in from being on the lake or visiting the lake. So this house is not on the MLS yet. I've had one offer cash. We are probably, if we could close within the next 45 days, we'd be happy. But I'll be honest with you, knowing what's going on out there, as much as I do or I don't, I would think we probably won't close much before August at this point in time. So at that point in time, you know, you'll see with my tail going down the driveway, Ryan. So
yeah,
I'll be drinking the way out, man. But yeah, we'll get together for
You're on the
transfer.
council until November, right?
I'm on council till November, and I will say again, anybody should put their name out there on the ballot. We need 5 people. I've got 2 who will be running. We need another 3 to make it an interesting contest. There's less work on the council than there ever will be on these boards when these boards really do their work. It really is true. A couple of them only show up and then don't even know what the hell the meeting is about. I mean, they haven't read the minutes, so what can I tell you, you know? That's a good place to be.
The problem is if anybody else, if any of us run for council, then we'll have,
Don't record that, Sherry.
if any of us run for council, then we got to be on both.
Well, that's, I keep pressing
Then we'll be
the,
doing your job.
yeah.
Yeah, you could still stay on the water board and be the liaison.
Yeah.
So, okay. Well, if there's no other finance points, Ryan, why don't you go ahead with your social media?
Sure. All right, let me get some stuff. All right, so a couple things that have been boiling up. You guys made mention of it in general, but some pretty big thread going on about boater safety. Not much you're going to really do about it, but it's more enforcement issues. John Ellsworth is all over it, but there was a comment that the boater safety class was canceled, right? So we may want to get with John about putting the boater safety class together midsummer. Usually we do it in the beginning, but it got canceled for COVID. So I think probably doing something boater safety wise. Lots of complaints about, you know, what's out there is basically jet skiers and other boats following too close to people being towed or people in the water. But maybe think about getting the boater safety class online, working with either the chief or the admin, whoever actually executes the class. That's one thing. To that end, on the website, the boater safety, there's a link to boater safety. It's broken. There's nothing there. Also on the website, the lake-specific ordinances, the link for that is also broken and shows nothing. So if you try and go to our website and try and find lake-specific ordinances or anything regarding boater safety, both of those links go nowhere. So we need to fix that. We need to get either, I don't know who does the website. If it's Mike or
get a hold of Tabitha does
Tabitha?
it. Yeah, get a hold of her.
Yeah, so anybody even trying to get information regarding the high-speed boating hours or what they're supposed to do can't even get it at this point easily. So we need to get that fixed. There is a big thread actually, which I thought would be interesting for this board to discuss. There's actually quite a bit of discussion going on regarding public fishing and locations for public fishing or lack thereof. Pretty much the only place that you're actually allowed to publicly fish the lake is off Benstein. And there's basically a 5-foot railing that people get stuck behind to go fishing. So I don't know if we've ever looked into maybe down in that same area, if we could build something or do something to make an access for people to, even if it was just like a dock that people could fish off of. But there's certainly a lot of conversation about, you know, it's a public lake, but you can't really fish it unless you have a boat, or if you have, you know, somebody who owns land that lets you go on it. So I kind of thought as a public lake, it might be beneficial if we could think somewhere down on Benstein Road there. Maybe we could look into building something. I don't know if we've ever done anything like that in the past or we've looked into it, but there was probably 50 comments or something regarding lack of public fishing space. So might be something we want to think about.
Just so you know, the Benstein Walk was designed with 3 outcrops, but you know, you really can't fish at that end anyways. And you know, that island down there is privately held.
Is it?
Yeah, at the Benstein end. Our former president of council who lives in Birmingham still, he bought it for $10,000. He was going to put a home on it until he found out it was going to cost $400,000 to redirect the road. Because we had to build a turnout lane on Benstein to get in and out of the island. So if you want to buy it for $9,000, you'd probably sell it.
Yeah. That whole area though, I mean, the Benstein Bridge there, I mean, people do fish it, right? They fish off the top of it, even if it's in the areas where people are currently fishing, where even online, the chief is basically telling them, bring a step stool and fish over the railing.
Yeah.
Having something that doesn't have a railing and that you could walk out onto, or even if it's a square dock or something out there that people could access, it probably would, people would, I think, would appreciate it.
Well, if the negotiations that I mentioned continue to go forward in a positive direction, all of the land behind the Wolverine Drive Apartments is owned by us, as I've mentioned many times. We've been in the process of doing negotiations to get access to it off the walkway on South Campus, so we can manage it. And once we get that done and get the easement, that becomes a public park. So that would be a great.
I mean, we have the street end boat launches and stuff too that the village owns that we don't let people fish off of, though, right? So I mean, is that an area that we intend?
They can fish off of road endings, like next to Ed Sinkowitz. You need to get the rules out. They can launch. Anybody can take any road ending and launch a canoe, or will launch a fishing boat.
I don't think they're allowed to fish at the road endings. You sure about that?
Could be true. Could be true. I'm not sure of that though. I'll pull the rules out. It's on the sign. As far as I know, that's what started the suit that caused all of the road endings to be surveyed. And every road ending had negotiations and easements, both prescriptively and temporary, to be granted, so things could be straightened out and all be owned by the village as proper. And there's new rules that were promulgated by the state of Michigan in 2011 and 12 on road ending use. I'd have to pull it out and pull it to you.
Yeah. I think based on the feedback that I read and what Ellsworth was saying, to me it sounded like literally the only place on the lake where it was permitted was down off the Benstein Bridge. So I feel like, I mean, I'm not impacted. I can fish off my dock and I have a boat, but I feel like if the only place on the lake is Benstein Bridge and there's a 5-foot fence there that you have to fish over, I think that's a little bit inconvenient. If we had it available to fish on the road endings or a different property that we're going to acquire, then that could probably address it. But if not, I think it would be something that would be worthwhile for us to talk about.
I agree with you, Ryan. I think you're right on that. That, you know, if we can give the off-lake public some access to the lake itself, that would be just for some recreational fishing. I think that would just be a positive move for us. And
I do know that every most every home has access through their own, I guess, part ownership in the 9 outlots that are out there. Nothing prevents those kids who have a home that are in those outlot ownership groups. For example, Mallow Beach, that's a privately held outlot and beach and swimming area. There's nothing that prevents any of the residents who are in that quadrant from going down there and fishing, right? That's true on Tampa. There are 2 outlots on Tampa, right, Mike? Hello.
I know of one. Maybe I'd have to go look for the other one.
Yeah, there are 2 over there. But anyways, that's, you know, what about getting the DNR to put a second dock down at the launch site where we bring the boats in for the fishing fish count?
Yeah, I mean, I don't know that I'm tied to saying it's got to be something on Benstein, but I mean, I just think whatever a spot is where people can say, even if they're not people that live in the village, but that can go and fish, I think it would be worthwhile. And like I said, that the areas where people fish probably off that Benstein Road, it's probably just a very small area. If you put about 10 by 10 little platform out there, you could probably address a bunch of issues, right?
Well, that walkway is, we're going to spend No. I think we're now at $38,000 to have it all done. It's going to be water blasted and then restained, and that should start mid-June or July. It was originally a $65,000 deal. We have over $385,000 invested in that Benstein walkway.
Yeah. I mean, I'm just looking at the street view images. I mean, there's a couple of areas that are kind of crop outs already that, you know, you could extend them and lower the fence and potentially solve the problem, right?
No, I think that's a great idea.
But I don't know really what the steps are necessarily to try and pursue something like that.
Well, a motion to council to investigate it, or to
A motion?
or a request from the board to Smith to find a solution that the board is hearing complaints about, that there are not areas where the public can fish. You know, I mean, yes.
Yeah, I feel like if we just say a motion to fish and send it to the council, it's going to die. So I think it needs to probably be more than that. And we need some kind of recommendation of where and some kind of documentation and probably present it, not just hope for the best by generating a motion. I don't feel like I see a lot getting accomplished when we do it that way.
No, it would end up being a motion for Smith to go to the attorney and Powell to put their heads together to see where they feel would be best to investigate that as a possibility. You're right. So, but you've got to start somewhere.
Yeah. Well, I think if you guys think it's reasonable, I could start trying to look into it a little bit more, and then maybe come back next month, and if we could get some kind of plan together, and then do a motion at that point, maybe recommend the place and try and get some feedback, and then go from there. I think that's probably coming with some kind of recommendation as part of the motion would be worthwhile.
The road endings seem like a real natural solution here. And if the rules are you can't fish there, why is that? Could they not be changed?
Well,
Yeah, I don't know. I think we got to look into it. I mean, it's those areas to me. I guess I don't necessarily live next to one, but I don't know if people come there and they're hanging out all day and they're fishing on the road endings. I don't know if that's the intent of what those are. Whereas I just thought Benstein Road along there, halfway up Benstein Road, it's not necessarily near any houses or something over by the dock, or if there's a new area, that would all be good too. I guess we have to get the road ending.
It's going to be something that the lawyer will have to look into. What is, can the village build something on a public road end? Can we legally put a dock in there? I don't know if we can.
They do come under state purview as well, because the road endings are there because it was a place for fire trucks to go and throw a hose in. I mean, if you look at the history of them, right? Why else would you have them there? Why don't you go on? I'm looking in my road ending rules file right now. Maybe I can come back here for you.
I know that road endings are a touchy subject, and they're kind of convoluted, and so I have no idea what exactly the village can and cannot do with that. So, but if you have something, John, that'd be great.
Yeah, I'll see what I can send out to everybody. How's that?
Yeah, that'll work. And Ryan, did anybody ever kind of straighten that guy out about removing the DNR boat launch?
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of comments. I mean, John Ellsworth pretty much straightened him out, as far as I'm concerned.
Yeah, I read that and I'm like, I don't think you can. I think on any public lake over a certain size, you have to have one.
Yeah.
So, you know, on the property next door.
Yeah, I mean, Ellsworth's opinion is more, let's just get people to follow the rules, not limit the lake access. But I'm just looking at a bird's eye view on Google Maps here for this potential fishing thing. I mean, just north of McCoy on the south side of the lake, I mean, about 500 feet from the closest house, there's already like a crop out on that walkway that could potentially be I think a great place for something like a fishing spot. But I'll go look into this more. Yeah, I mean, anything else? Those are the main things that I saw on the social media. Yeah, that guy complaining about making a private lake. Obviously, that's not even worth discussing. But the main thing was the boaters, overall boater safety, not looking great out there necessarily. I mean, I was out there for Memorial Day and a couple of times, and I got a kid that I'm trying to teach how to do some wakeboarding, and there's definitely no way I would be taking her out there with the way people are driving right now. You got to go out there in the day, so it's a little hectic out there right now. So I think getting that boater safety course, not that these same people are going to enroll in it, but at least we go through the process of providing the course would be the first step. And getting the rules updated on the website, which are not there.
Yeah, I just sent an email to Tabitha about that. So.
Okay.
Okay, does anybody else want to have a comment to go on to the under social media? Pull up my agenda again here. Okay, so I guess that moves us down to continuing in future business items, which I'm assuming not much has been done with the lake, the harvester discussion.
No, I think where we left that was just going to be to monitor more closely the usage, make it available to people. I talked to the admin about it, so they went out for the first time this week. He was out there yesterday, but getting the reports and plotting it over time and showing how we're actually using it in the hours versus how much we're hauling it would give us a better opinion on what we could potentially do for change if required. So I think really that standing item is going to be probably reviewing the hours that it's been used and what it's been pulling from the lake, et cetera. And we just have the first data point coming in this week. So I'll track that as it goes.
Do we want to leave that under continuing business?
It's probably just, I would say keep it there for a couple months. We'll
Okay.
see what it shapes up as through the summer. I mean, as we get towards the end of summer, it could probably fall off, but inevitably, like I said, even I had some treatment back here and people are always going to complain about the harvester. So let's just keep it as something that we're talking about.
Okay. Mike, anything going on with Lakeshore Erosion?
Well, we talked about that earlier, and I was going to comment here that I feel like we're kind of stuck in a do loop here. So I'm not sure how to get moving forward. And we've made our intentions known to the board, to the council. And I don't know, John, you've been around this administration longer than anybody. How do we go to the next step? I mean, it seems like we just keep bouncing back and forth and
Well,
doing something I'm supposed to be doing.
I think I said it before. If you want a feeling of the temperature of council on this issue relative to the Schenken area, the culvert area, and et cetera, the next thing of most importance they're funding and are going to do is they're going to withdraw muck from the culvert in the anticipation that might increase flow through into the canals. As far as shoreline plantings, there's no real enthusiasm from the administration, Powell or et cetera, to take that on as a subject. I mentioned before that it was my feeling that they'd be pretty positive to do something once the access is granted in front of the shore up and down that whole front in that little bay, down by the culvert. Not the culvert, but by the Greenaway drain, which, by the way, work's gonna start on the Greenaway again. And the reason I say that is that they know that there's erosion problems there. They feel that that's a decent place to probably put an example planting erosion study. And I think that's why the decision, actually, it wasn't a decision the council involved. We moved the $25,000. Mike and I had some conversations underneath contracted services because it's easier to manage it that way than it is as a separate line item, Mike. First, that is. So you're going to get a lot more positive response by giving a couple other alternative suggestions. Because from an engineering standpoint, and don't get the answer I'm giving you this way, from an engineering standpoint, there's just too much up in the air in terms of how to fund it and what part of the budget do you fund it from. Shanking, we can pull repairs on that by backfills and maybe even putting in some form of seawall repair out of the road funds, because it is road right of way where it is not, in fact, an outlot for the use by some of those on Shankin. If it's an outlot, it's private property.
Okay, back to erosion, and we were talking about the transponders, and we had a high water. You and I talked about that on.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
We had a dam burst up north, or two bursts. So, with that high water comes erosion because of the waves on a lot of people's property, including mine.
Was discussed by the council. Yeah.
Pardon me?
I says that particular item, erosion, I know that Brian, the president, has lost what he feels to be about 6.5 to 7 inches around his rocks in the last 3 years alone. The rocks have been in there 20 years. There are other complaints that have come in. The combination of high water and heavy boat traffic use just causes what it causes.
Okay. So
bounces from one side to the other.
If we get the transponders in, does that mean that we can react quicker to get the lake levels down, or is that the idea?
Yeah, I think it, even Mr. Sinkowitz now is aware that the Oakland County, Mike Sargent, you were at these meetings. There was never any doubt in anybody who was sitting in those meetings that from the Water Commission standpoint, from other conversations in direct the Road Commission, is that we can let out as much water as is necessary into Commerce in order to keep our lake levels at control. I think we're where are you, Sherry? You there? I think saying it off the record, management of that entire process is a one-man deal, and it's by Andy. He is our dam manager, and he's never done a bad job. He has to go between rain and et cetera. So transponders is a question of, again, I'm being long-winded, but the question is, does transponders allow us to have a better control of lake levels? It'd be more immediate for anybody that wants to drive by with a cell phone with the program in it. We all depend upon those to be readings of Andy hanging over the edge of the wall. The other thing is, up to that $5,000 to $6,000 level, we could put transponders down at our major inlet areas, and we'd be overdoing it, but that's an engineer's dream, right? You could find out where the water flow is, how far it comes in out of the Greenaway, how far it comes in out of Sun Lake, and hits the dam.
while I'm thinking about it, is there any concern or any extra look at our dam after what happened up north?
Yes. It's been inspected, and there are going to be 12 to 14 inches of new dirt applied at the top. The dam is down by survey. It has sunk 12 inches since we spent the $70,000 or $80,000 necessary to put a new drain pipe inside of the drain pipe that leads to the dam underneath Glengarry. So we're adding more topsoil to the top.
What's the timing on that, John?
It is contracted to be done somewhere between now and the end of July, depending.
Okay, thank you.
Mhm.
So John, the concrete part of the dam is dropped 12 inches, or the berm is down?
The berm is down. In essence, the dam itself, the structure has been stabilized and is stable. So, you know, unfortunately, the berm in the 20s, when it was put in there by Doc Stewart's contractors, contains everything that was available. Tree stumps, muck, sand, you know, I mean, they graded the road up is what they did. They did it by mule is what I was told. I don't know if that's true or not. So we have added dirt on the top before. What was done is at the front end of the dam, that is the street side. 10 years ago, I could remember you walking down that street or the extension of Glengarry, and there would be water dripping through the dam. So a plastic sheet was inserted, I mean the berm, not the dam. A plastic sheet was inserted along Glengarry under the berm, and at the same point in time, we then came back around and put, as you know, a seawall down the entire water side of the berm. At our expense, even though part of that is the neighbor to the east and part of it, we only own the portion of the berm plus or minus 15 feet on either side of the dam. The rest is private property.
That's disturbing.
Well, we have contracts to be responsible for it. So.
Okay. As far as the transponders, I think I mentioned this before when we were talking about this subject. It kind of seems a bit dangerous to have one person be the sole person who is in control of all of this.
Who was 3 years away from retirement.
Is 3 years away from retirement or 15 minutes from a car accident. God forbid that happens, but it's still something that should be considered as far for at least for our job as the board. We need to know that information to determine lake level. So I still think the transponders are a good idea myself, but and it will also help with the erosion system problems.
Yeah. Well, I mention it again only because we've been in front of council 3 times on that, on various times. There was 3 members of council asking the very same questions that were being asked by you, Mike, and I think you, Paul. What is the condition of that berm? What is the condition of the dam? There was an engineering study done recently on it. The strength of the dam, its solidity, its concrete structure, I guess, is passable. But so was the one up north, right? You know, so, you know, I just, and again, it's really the long-term view that the board has to decide whether you want to make a motion to at least contract or contact contractors and decide where you would like them placed and for what reasons and at what cost. I mean, that's all you need to do is ask Mr. Smith to investigate the costs and alternatives for transponders. Once we know that, then we can go back to the board. The board can go back. I know this is all a lot of BS, but I mean, that's just how it works until new members on councils are more sensitive to this. Although this council at the last meeting and again at the administration meeting and again at the, particularly at the work session, all mentioned what happened up north. Is our dam going to do the same thing? And if it does, what happens? Well, if our berm goes away, you know what's going to happen. It's going to go down to the level of Glengarry. I mean, that's the more natural level of this lake, somewhere around 914.
So, and Commerce Lake won't even notice that it happened.
Well, they'll know it is.
My understanding from the road commission.
Yeah. I think the other thing I've heard, and I know if it's true, I meant to ask Powell, is that when we're at our summer level, we are about 5.5 inches or 7.5 inches below the 100-year plain level of floodplain. So, we just have to have, I think, from my standpoint, I've always argued it. By the way, all of my seepage has been repaired. I've had concrete poured, and I'm in good shape now in this house. But I had very little seepage come in when we were 4.5 inch over. I had less than 1/4 of an inch along the walls. So I know we're in good shape. But, over the long term, you guys are going to be here. If you're going to set up a parameter of measurement and monitoring, and you've got 3, and there's no proof. I don't know how much this is going to make to the minutes. You have to be careful what gets in the minutes, and I know that Sherry knows that. But if Andy does decide to retire in 3 years, I would hope to hell there's some kind of backup measurement and some kind of control of those sluice gates, because they are manual. You could add a transponder to electric sluice gate control, but I mean, that's a lot of expenses you don't need. You just have to have somebody crank them up a little bit. You know what the flow rates are. They're all calculated. If you open it up an inch, how much of that lake will go out under one sluice gate, open an inch, at what flow rate? And if you're going to get 2 inches of rain, what shows up in the lake in about 24 hours, the full 2 inches is at the lake. If you haven't controlled the dam, you just have to go jimmy and open them a little bit. That's all. Give it some relief, and then you can go close it if you know that after that a rain event, you're not going to get rain for a week again. It's not rocket science, but certainly Andy has been doing it for 18 years. So I hope the board wants to go ahead and do something, if anything, just to make sure that they say to the administrator, who just is finishing his course that you've all taken, we had to figure out what to do. I know I've said it to him in the administrative meeting. It's not, you can't leave it up to one guy and not have some backup.
Right. So, shall we make a motion to have Mike look into pricing for purchase and installation of transponders in the lake? Did I make a motion to do so? I think I did.
You did. The only friendly I might make to that is for Mike Smith in coordination with Mike Powell, our engineer, who has some ideas where they should be placed. That's up to you guys if you want to accept that friendly.
Yeah, sure. Yeah, we can do that. Mike Smith and Mike Powell coordinate to find positions and find out how much it costs to purchase and install transponders. So I guess I'll make that motion. Excuse me. Do we have a second on that?
I'll second it.
Okay. All those in favor of it?
Aye.
Aye.
All right.
All right.
I'll guess it's my motion.
Okay.
I'll put that in there and,
yeah.
you know,
I just want to know, maybe it's just politic part that I don't get. What does this motion do that's any different than the last time we told them to go look at transponders and that we wanted to put 2 or 3 of them in a lake? What physically just changed now?
What changed is that you're going to touch on Smith and Powell to come back and either good or bad to make recommendations as compared to the board going directly to council and asking for money.
Okay.
Yeah, so we're gonna get a cost estimate.
End around game, that's all. That's all it is.
So, and I think it also shows that we're kind of serious about doing this. We think it's important. If we keep throwing it at them, they might keep throwing it back, but that's all right.
Well, and I think Mike Sargent, you were in those meetings. Powell, Smith, you, I, and everybody else listened carefully when we found out most of Oakland County's lakes, 33 of them, I think better than half are on transponders.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
They manage them,
Yeah, it was something like that. So, okay. Kathy, you have
Yes.
anything with the canal mucks subcommittee?
No, Mike never did get back to me, and then I didn't do anything for 2 months because I've been working nights instead of days because of this COVID thing.
Okay.
But you know what? If Ryan takes over aeration, we may look at putting aeration in the canals.
Okay.
Look and see what that, I'll have to talk to somebody and actually see, what would be the process and then kind of what expectations we might want to consider from it.
Okay. Yeah, I think that's something that we should probably get working on because I keep hearing muck and canals come up in almost every meeting other than this bullet point. So, and it comes up a number of times on on the Facebook page. So
Okay.
we're going to want to look at before it gets out of control and people start storming the gates. We should probably get a handle on it.
Okay.
And so lake enforcement issue, we talked a little bit about from Ryan's social media report about enforcement. Do we have another officer that's just dedicated to lake monitoring? Is that what I understand?
Yes, we do.
Okay. Okay.
I think we have 2 officers that work weekends. I'm not sure if we have a third. At one time we did, but I think I'm not sure if we only have 2.
I'm unaware. I'm not on the lakefront, so I don't know what the situation is, but it sounds like maybe there needs to be a little bit more crackdown on some jet skiers and that kind of stuff.
I think it's everybody. I think the whole pandemic thing has got everybody pent up, and then when they get a chance to get out, we're out on the lake yesterday and last night, and on a Tuesday night, the lake was really full of people. And we got a lot of young people that don't have jobs, don't have anything else to do. They're out on the lake enjoying their loud music and whatever they're smoking. So I think
I think the lake officers are only working Saturday. Well, I take that back. Friday night, Saturday, Sunday. So I don't know what the lake looks like during the week either. And I know we talked about maybe throwing one of them on the lake occasionally during the week. Because some people have figured out what their schedule is. I know last year they were hitting people really hard and trying to crack down on, bad behavior.
Mm-hmm. Well, people that park in our swim hole down here can see where the boat is, so they'll know if it's in its dock or not. So
Yeah, there were a couple of jet skis cutting across the lake about, 8:20 last night. clipping along pretty good. So, you know, it is a little looser out there than it's been.
Yeah, I think you're right, Mike, that there are people just don't have anything else to do. They lost their jobs and
Yeah, I mean, John
I have an obtuse question about lake and enforcement issues. Did we lose our lit buoy down here on Tampa? The buoy that we had here last year had a light on it. This one, either it doesn't or it's not working. Has anybody noticed that? Are the other ones lit?
It should be lit. I haven't seen the one on Tampa lit, so.
The one entering into Penny Lake, I believe, is out as well.
Is it?
Maybe they're not turned on or the batteries are dead or something. Because I know they're solar powered, right?
Yeah, there's solar power. Yeah.
well, we should have the DPW take a look at that at least.
Yeah.
Yeah, they might not know.
Wait. I'm looking at our responsibilities under safety, education, and communication. Lake buoys, Mr. Hurst, equipment, buoy positioning, upgrades, etc.
All right, so it's gotta. I can wait. Which
I'm the one that turns the damn things on, Ryan?
Wait. Which
no,
Tampa and Penny Lake?
This is all I'm saying is this is all you, Mike. This is your wheelhouse. You're the buoy man. You got the big
Buoy
fish.
man.
The buoy man.
Ryan's
Guess that's better than the
weaponizing
boogeyman.
spreadsheet.
Well, I'm just happy that you noticed it since you're the buoy man.
That's
now
by
I got to figure out.
Okay, then I will assign myself the task to get right on it.
That's right. If that doesn't look right to you, it's definitely wrong.
Because you're the buoy
Like
man.
you're thinking.
If you think that buoy is insufficient, everybody on this board supports you in that opinion.
Okay. Topics for future business, the 3 to 5 year plan. Do we have anything to add to that?
No.
I don't hear anything that's gonna at this time. I think right now we're primarily focused on the summertime issues. So that's more of a winter. Let's think about where we're going kind of thing.
Yeah.
Boat count. From what I'm hearing, a lot.
Got that right.
An official number, but do you think we should do another boat count? Or
I still think there's a lot of people that don't even have their boats in yet with all the COVID stuff. If we're going to do a count, I'd say let's wait another couple, maybe in July do it.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah.
I can look at the docks by me. Yeah, I can look at the docks by me, and I can see people that I know have boats that don't have boats in.
okay. All right, well, we'll keep that on here. Bird count, lots of birds, I assume. Did we do the
Egg's been done.
did we do the goose roundup and egg hunt?
They did the egg hunt.
Yeah. There you go.
We're still waiting on the permit back from Eagle to do the roundup.
Okay.
Okay.
Who's
So
on that? That's the admin that is getting the permit. Is that what that is?
Mike Smith does it through, actually Goosebusters does it. So Mike works for them and they turn in the permit. We're just waiting to hear back.
all right. And aeration, other than what John has given us and Ryan now becoming the airhead.
Yeah, I think, like I said, we need to set up a download to get me up to speed on it. So I would say nothing there right now.
Okay, well, that moves us to 11. which are the liaison reports. Paul, are you going to surprise us?
You'll never get, no, I don't think I am. I'm pretty steady. We didn't have a meeting this month or last month. Since our last meeting, we didn't have a meeting. Yeah, I have seen a lot of social media activity about chicken coops though, so I'm keeping my eye on it.
No,
Swear to God.
no chicken.
Got one across the street from me.
Yeah. See? I heard about somebody asking for dimensions and where you get the how you get the cages set and stuff. So
Okay. John, do you have anything to add to for the village liaison?
New police officer coming aboard to replace one that has left for other pastures. Budgets, of course, have been the big discussions. Updates on Mr. Powell. We're going to be starting to fill the Ladd Road hole, if you would. There's a big pond that's been sitting there for years, right in the middle of property we own and somebody else owns. The Veterans Memorial, I have that meeting tomorrow night. We are almost fully funded. We approved the extension of the parking lot down Glengarry, and we'll probably be putting 6 flags up temporarily while they get the parking lot done, and there will be a Veterans Memorial under construction somewhere around the end of July. Other things, miscellaneous stuff. To be honest with you, I don't remember.
We canceled the fireworks, John.
Yes, we canceled the fireworks. Yes.
No big deal.
Tiki knife is still on. I have candles coming. We've got 745 candles to sell. Never been a moneymaker. Thank you for that, Michael. What else did I miss, Mike? You were watching a meeting, weren't you, for a while? By remote.
I tried.
Yeah, I know.
John, I got a question. When you said that the
Tiki night is on?
Yeah, Tiki night is still planned. It's an informal night to stick tiki. Tiki's on the beach. I mean, what can I tell you? By the time that she lifted today, didn't she? She opened up the 4th level, which means restaurants open Monday. With all of the social distancing and all the rest of that. She didn't open hair salons today. We've been operating. Construction's going pretty good. What am I missing? I can go and look at the agenda now that I'm at a place I can look at it if you want me to.
No, that's okay. My computer's about running out of gas here.
Smiling like, stick it, Scott.
Comments from the board members.
yeah, I just got a couple. One is I understood that Mr. Martini was called Airhead because of the aeration thing. If we're passing out nicknames, I want to be really careful because I was going to take on the septic stuff for the water purity thing. I'll be watching the minutes on how that all and I guess the only other thing is Mr. Nye, are you still organizing the goose roundup?
Yes, we're just waiting to get the permit back, and then we have, I think, till mid-July to do it.
Is there a way I can join the flotilla?
Oh, certainly, yes.
All right, please let me know.
Yeah, as soon as we get the permit, we have to work with Goosebusters to get a date when they'll come drag them away.
Okay, good.
Yep.
That's all for me.
Okay.
Go ahead. I'm sorry.
No, I was just asking if anybody else had anything.
Yeah, I just going to tell you, I just emailed you the state of Michigan rules on road endings. Everybody should have a copy. I was going to put it up here, but last time I did that.
What does it say? Fishing or no fishing? make us read the whole document?
It's only a one pager. Oh, I'm on the wrong computer. Here, just a minute. Construction, installation, maintenance, and use of boat hoist or boat anchorage devices is not prohibited. I mean, it's prohibited. Mooring or docking of a vessel between 12 and midnight and sunrise is prohibited. Any activity that obstructs egress to or egress from the inland lake or stream is prohibited. Let me see if I see anything on, there's 7.
You sent this to us?
Yeah,
I don't know that this is, I don't know that you sent this to us. I think you sent us a memo from Wolverine Lake about road endings, but it identifies the road endings.
So much
It
for that.
identifies the road endings.
Is that
It doesn't tell us the rules.
Okay. All right. Well, hold a second, and I'll just reattach it to you. I hit the wrong one then. So, sorry about that. We're about ready to call this an evening, aren't we? We can send this to you just a minute.
Yeah, we're
Yeah.
about ready to
I don't know.
stake in the heart of this thing.
Okay. Here it comes.
Yeah. Not quite pumpkin time, but it's close, right?
Yeah. Very
We have
much.
10 more minutes.
What, it turns to be pumpkin time?
All this talk of water making me thirsty.
Well, my hamster that's running this computer is about tired out, so.
Yeah.
If there's nothing else, need a motion to adjourn.
I move we adjourn.
I second.
I second.
All those in
I
favor?
third.
Aye.
Aye.
All right. See
All
you
right. There you go.
next month.
Thank you, everyone.
Rob.
Thank
Thank
you.
you.
All right.
Hey, John boy.
Good night, guys.
See you, Bowie boy.
Good night.